Hey everybody, Tim and Ryan with C3. This morning we're going to be talking about penetration testing and vulnerability assessment. So it really is the concept of static versus continuous. So Ryan, let's dive into it, sir.
Yeah. Happy Friday.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it won't be Friday when people see this, but it's Casual Friday here.
We'll send some good vibes out there for everybody.
Absolutely. All right. So Ryan, most organizations understand that penetration testing and vulnerability assessments, they need to be done. So while
hmm
this is important, what are some of the things that we tell our customers about penetration testing and vulnerability assessments?
Yeah, that's a great point and great place to start, Tim. Um, I can think of three big areas, and really the first one, if we think about this, is a traditional type of engagement. It's a snapshot, point in time, whether it's once a year, once a quarter, even once a month. I think what our customers are seeing and what I'm professionally seeing is it's providing less value overall as a deliverable. And why I say that is, I mean, change is all around us. This year has been full of change for businesses. We're working from home. We're doing all sorts of things to keep everybody moving, and that rate of change is just increasing exponentially. Again, we see it all around us. So again, when the businesses are changing and reacting, you know, people working from home, what was scanned last year in some ways isn't relevant anymore. So where is the actual value coming from in those point in time snapshots of these vulnerability test assessments and pen testing? The second thing, kind of really building on that, is if when you think about it, we all live in this fully digital world. We all rely on instant communication, this instant information exchange between hundreds of devices, all sorts of software platforms and systems. Um, as an example, just think about um, checking your email on your phone. Okay, walk down this scenario with me for a second. So, you know, I use an Apple. I've been using iPhone. You're an Android guy. We both get along. We're all good. But there's two big differences: hardware and software, right there. Different software versions, different hardware versions. They each have vulnerabilities. Are you using your built-in mail application to check Outlook? Are you using the Outlook application on there? Different software, different vulnerabilities. Are you on home Wi-Fi versus LTE 5G now that's coming out with new iPhones and some Android models? Are you on your corporate internet? Here's my point, is that's just to get you essentially connected to the internet. And then you've got this huge web of everything on the internet from uh, say you're at your corporate office. Once it leaves there and goes to the next hop on the internet to your ISP, it travels on this invisible web. It's an invisible web, and these are systems that are out of your control before they even get to your email host on their platform, on their software. So just kind of thinking about how all this builds, there's vulnerabilities, there's patches that need to be applied, there's systems that are out of your control. We rely on all that all the time, and it changes all the time. So is a point in time snapshot really going to assess and say, yes, you're secure on October 16th versus October 17th? I just think all of those vulnerabilities kind of, I mean, if I think about, you know, where we're at now, it just sometimes walking into the grocery store, you could inadvertently pick up a cold and bring it home. I think it's very similar in that respect of, you can take your phone into, you know, a public Wi-Fi spot, or your laptop into a public Wi-Fi spot. Maybe you don't have the right, you know, up-to-date patching on your machine. Last month, your vulnerability assessment said you were fine, but this month you're missing critical CVE like Microsoft released for IPv6. Maybe you're not even using it, but it's a threat vector. And you can bring that back into your home network, connect via VPN, get back to the business. Long answer, but I think you get the point, is that there's all these vulnerabilities all around us. It's everything's changing, and how can we better identify that and see What is a real health? What does our real risk profile look like? Um, the third one that I want to hit on is requirements to do business with other businesses are changing. As an example, Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, or CMMC, a newer standard, really just coming out. I mean, the auditors were really just finished their training and getting out in the last like 60 days ish in there. This is a newer requirement that anyone in the defense industry base, whether you're first supplier in the web to supply and work with government contracts, or you're one of the 300,000 companies in the supply chain, you're going to have to say, what are my requirements for one of 5 levels? Level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In order to do business, you're going to have all these sorts of controls in there, from CIS Top 20 to NIST 800 to ISO 27001. The traditional type of penetration test and snapshot vulnerability assessments, they don't cut those. And I really see that those types of business requirements to do business to business in the supply chain wherever you're at is going to be more and more a requirement for even small, medium, any size business to do business with another business.
So Ryan, I know this is kind of like, security 101, but we still oftentimes find ourselves having this conversation with organizations that have continued to use the same provider year over year over year. So
Mm-hmm.
essentially tell us, what is the importance of selecting a different provider each time?
Yeah, I think there's really good value in looking at having a different security vendor that you've used for the last year, maybe the last 2 years, continuously switching it up, because you're essentially ensuring that the company that you're contracting with to do this work is up to date on all the latest different tools, techniques, processes. Every organization in the security industry is doing this rapid change and rapid adoption to new sets of tools, new technologies. And in the midst, if it's required of the business to do a traditional pen test and provide that for PCI or for HIPAA or whatever kind of compliance they need to adhere to, just like we talked about in before, or this rate of change and all the change around us, the provider that you are contracting with needs to keep up with that change. So continuously looking at new providers to give you those valuable deliverables for that, making sure that they're using not just off the shelf type of software, but they're developing their own types of ways to test cracking SSH connections into routers. Do they have the capabilities to actually ping your cloud resources and try to break into cloud resources? As your business changes, as wherever your data is flowing, wherever your critical data is flowing, your security provider should and better be able to test against those sources and really prove that they can say, yes, you're secure, or no, you're secure. When you're trusting that piece of paper, we got to make sure that the provider has the right stuff.
In closing here, I mentioned this, or we mentioned this in the beginning, static versus continuous. So,
Mm-hmm.
what do we believe the future holds for penetration testing and vulnerability assessment? So again, going back to the static versus continuous concept.
Yeah. Um, so here's a couple thoughts on this. One is, we know if we look at the news every single day that malware, credential harvesting, social engineering, all of those things that end up with business impacting events like ransomware, exfiltration of data, um, those happen. We see this every single day. That's only a snapshot. That's only a small fraction of what's actually happening. I think there's still a lot of organizations that aren't required to report. They don't want to report. I can understand that. Um, as an example, I was on a recent meeting with a client. We were reviewing their they've subscribed to managed detection and response. So this is a service that is looking continuously 24 by 7, 365 at the actual network traffic flowing in and out of their network, north and south of their firewall, and being able to see laterally inside their network. Has anything come in and has it pivoted? We're looking at different KPIs, or these key performance indicators, these different types of, of indicators of threat. One of them is for remote access connections. So remote access connections is different than attempts. We've got people attempting to get connections all the time, but these were actual connections. They found a hole into one of these devices through the firewall, and they were actually trying to connect. They were getting some sort of a response. They were saying, "Hello, are you out there?" And the device on the customer's network were saying, "Yeah, I'm here. Who are you?" And the person was saying, "I'm admin. Here's my password." Nope, that didn't work. Oh, here, let me try again. A brute force password attack against what we ended up seeing was this was an IoT device on the network that somebody had set up for testing. They were doing the right thing. They were trying to get it working. I'm just going to speculate here a little bit that, probably got distracted, got pulled off onto another project, just got, maybe it was Friday afternoon or whatever, and didn't close that door. So it started happening over a weekend. The managed detection and response service saw that, reported it, opened a ticket, let the customer know, here's what's going on. We don't see them actually getting into the network and making a successful connection, but they're trying. They're knocking on the door. They're trying over and over and over again. Over a weekend, there was over 2,000 connection attempts on a single device. Service was able to tell them where it was coming from, or when it was coming, where it was coming from, how they were trying to connect, meaning it could actually see what operating system the threat actor was using. It happened to be a Linux machine that they were trying to get access to this device from. What port it was trying to come over, SSH, normal remote administration port. And then obviously what the target was. It was trying to get to that target, trying to break into that target that had been exposed to the open internet. So kind of wrapping this up here a bit, I really believe that you're going to see this faster transition to two things. One is managed detection and response that helps look at continuously what is actually flowing in and out of these of your network, whether it's on premise, cloud. There's solutions, and the second one is really a cloud-based application firewall. I mean, more and more of everything that we do lives at layer 7 on the OSI model, that application layer. We authenticate to applications. We don't necessarily all of the time authenticate to systems unless we're talking like VPN, but we're using our mail app on our phone to connect to a mail server. That's at layer 7. Having something like a Cloudflare, Amazon CloudFront, Microsoft Cloud App, there's lots of them, but I think what we're seeing is it's not just about a single snapshot in time saying, yes, I'm good, I can continue going on business. Got to have these continuously updated tools, continuously monitored tools and services to help us just stay protected, bring visibility into your network continuously, and just whether it's MDM, EDR, cloud-based firewall, a multi-pronged approach to increasing your security maturity is absolutely the best way to go. We've got to embrace all of these different tools. And I'll just say in closing, that's why I love my job here at C3, is because I help customers all the time make sense of this and say, here's really how you could benefit from this. Here's how it could apply in your network. And it's without any sort of bias. I'm here to help you understand the lay of the network, what your threats are, and how to protect yourself from it.
All right. Well, Ryan, thanks again for taking some time with me to put this video together. And for those of you that watched the whole thing, thank you. And let us know what feedback you have based on
Yeah,
the
please.
that we asked today. So we're always
Yeah.
curious about people's feedback. And
Get some conversations going. Absolutely.
yeah, and absolutely. And thank you to everybody that recommended that we invest in audio and some lighting. So as you can see, Ryan and I have both done that. So
Yeah.
everybody
Working on it.
that feedback. So, all right. Well, everybody enjoy the day and look out for more content from Ryan and I soon.